Broadcast tonight, Cumberland Drive on campus becomes an outdoor art festival.
And the annual wellness fair provides students ways to stay well for this final push of the semester.
All of that and more right now on SUTV News. Thanks for joining us on SUTV News. I'm Patrick Ramsdale.
And I'm Carson Devitt. This afternoon, students took advantage of the nice weather to get out and make some art. SUTV's Carmine Chicatano is over in front of Reisner with the latest.
Well, the clouds and wind may have picked up out here, but that hasn't stopped some students from coming out to Art Fest. Cumberland Drive in front of Reisner Dining Hall was temporarily blocked today to allow students a chance to showcase their creativity.
Art Fest is a great opportunity for students to come out and have fun, leave the stress behind for a couple hours, express themselves artistically, and meet new students.
In an event put on by the Pride and Gender Equity Center on campus, Art Fest is a yearly event that gives students a place to have some fun and get creative. Students could use sidewalk chalk to color the road in front of the dining hall, use spray paint on some tarps, or tie-dye a Page Center shirt their favorite colors.
The weather's not perfect, but we're still having fun, and we're glad to be out here.
For SUTV News, I'm Carmine Chicatano. Now let's head back inside to Patrick and Carson at the desk.
Shippensburg University hosted their annual wellness fair on Tuesday in the Cub Airport Lounge. Students relaxed with the furry friends from Kindly Canines, picked up free COVID-19 essentials, and indulged in free healthy snacks provided throughout the event. Several raffle baskets were also up for grabs, and students could make appointments for free massages and Reiki. Dozens of organizations participated in the event to ensure students had a chance to relax as we begin to approach finals week. For more information on wellness initiatives, you can visit the Wellness Resource Center located in room 121 of the Cub. On Tuesday, April 19th, the Page Center and the Women and Gender Studies team will be uniting for the annual Take Back the Night event. Here with more information is Page Center Director Ariel Catron and intern Jennifer Harfst.
We celebrate Take Back the Night every year as a way to increase safety and visibility of sexual assault on campus. We think that everyone on campus deserves to be able to walk across campus safely and not fear for their safety, not fear for safety in relationships, in the classroom or out of the classroom. So Take Back the Night is a way for us to promote safety and the resources available to students. So that's why we do this every year.
One of the biggest things that I'm excited for Take Back the Night is the importance it has with survivors, and just being able to get not only the information about campus resources out, but also let survivors know that there's a place where they have people and that they're not alone. I think the importance of that is so great, and especially on campus where we're in a smaller area and we don't have outside resources within Shippensburg.
If you wish to attend the event, it will begin at 6 p.m. in Cub MPRA, and the march will begin at 6:45 p.m.
For the fourth consecutive year, the Pennsylvania State System for Higher Education, or PASHE, will freeze tuition prices for students. This freeze will only come if Governor Tom Wolf can fulfill his promise of increasing the state system's budget by $75 million. The focus on this freeze is making the state system affordable for students, according to PASHE Chancellor Dan Greenstein. New posters are gracing the walls of Shippensburg University, and they just might save a life. Psychology student Shayla Rivera created the posters as part of her educational service project. The posters point out various toxic relationship red flags and list multiple resources students can contact for help. We sat down with Rivera to get more details about this project.
So for my poster on toxic relationships, I have it divided into 4 quadrants. The first quadrant is talking about intensity and jealousy. The second quadrant is talking about control and isolation. The third is criticism and sabotage, and the last one is blame and anger. I feel on campus there is not much resources and information regarding toxic relationships, and it's not something that's really talked about. So I just feel very passionately about getting that word out and helping as many people as I can.
You can find these helpful posters hanging in multiple buildings across campus. In Motion Dance Troupe hosted an open masterclass for students Wednesday night. The class was taught by team members Haley Taggart and Haley Bogdan and featured styles such as contemporary and jazz. While they won't be hosting any more masterclasses this year, the team will host auditions next semester. For more information about the dance team, visit their Instagram at ship_dance troupe.
When we come back in World News, it's springtime here in Pennsylvania, but it doesn't quite feel like it in Canada.
We have more after the break.
Canada is digging itself out after a springtime blizzard.
Cullen Mays has this week's World News.
A spring blizzard is slamming southern Manitoba and parts of southeastern Saskatchewan with heavy snow and strong winds, conditions that are forecast to last until Friday, and it's causing some concerns about flooding. Cameron McIntosh reports.
As forecast, the snow is coming down here in Winnipeg, across southern Manitoba, into southeastern Saskatchewan and parts of northwestern Ontario. Now, to put this into perspective, early this morning, this snow wasn't here. This has all fallen in the mid to late morning hours and into the early afternoon. Forecasters expect between 50 and 80 centimeters could fall by Friday morning. They're calling that a historic spring storm for the prairies. And even in a place that's used to winter, that much snow that fast can present problems, especially this time of year. Chief among them, just getting around. It's already hard to drive around in the city, and rural areas are seeing highways shut down, even though there have already been some accidents. Also, people are being told to stay home. Schools have been preemptively canceled, and people are being advised to stock up on supplies.
I think it's something that Manitobans are used to. We have random snowstorms, so it's nothing surprising.
What are you going to do about it? It's here. It's going to be for a while. Let's live with it.
It's not just that they might be having a hard time getting in and out over the next couple of days. There are also concerns that this heavy, wet snow can cause problems like downed power lines and hydro outages. Also, a big concern here with all this snow this late is spring runoff. This winter was already abnormally wet on the prairies. Now, adding all this moisture into the equation could present a problem for flooding. Here in Winnipeg, the Red River is already up to the top of its banks in some places, although flood forecasters are saying that this snow should stay cold enough, long enough, that it won't melt out very quickly, that it won't present a major flooding threat in the weeks to come. Cameron McIntosh, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Protesters in Grand Rapids, Michigan are demanding justice and police reform. That's after an officer's fatal shooting of a black man named Patrick Lyoya this month. An attorney for his family is set to speak about the shooting today. Michigan State Police are still investigating. The county's chief medical examiner says that he is still awaiting tissue and toxicology results for his final autopsy report. And the county's prosecutor's office says that it will review all evidence before deciding whether or not to charge the officer. Meanwhile, the White House says that the president doesn't want to keep waiting for Congress to pass a stalled police reform bill. Lyoya was 26 years old. No matter how many times you've been to Venice, here is a reason to go back, and something most people have never seen before. The Procuratia Vecchia in St. Mark's Square is now open to the public. This marks the first time in history that that has happened. The more than 600-year-old building's ground level has long housed popular cafes, but visitors are now allowed to visit up to the 4th floor. A 5-year renovation was recently completed that created space for an exhibit called The World of Potential. It has interactive games and hands-on experiences that look at social skills via technology. Visitors are also now allowed on the 3rd floor, which hosts other exhibits. Queen Elizabeth will not appear at Windsor Castle's Easter Sunday celebration, according to a royal source. The Queen has said that she has been exhausted after her recent bout with COVID-19. Although the Queen was in attendance for last week's memorial service, marking a year since the death of her husband, Prince Philip, she has canceled other public events, including Thursday's yearly Maundy service. Next week is the Queen's birthday, when she will turn 96 years old. That's it for World News this week. I'm Cullen Mays. Now let's head on over to Patrick and Carson at the desk.
When we come back in entertainment, oops, Britney Spears has done it again.
We have more after this.
Are you
I don't know about you, but I've really enjoyed wearing shorts around campus with all this nice weather we've been having.
Yeah, it's been really great to, enjoy some of the warmth we've had, but I think it might be a little too good to be true. But for more on that, let's go over to Adam Beam with this week's weather.
Well, this week has definitely been the nicest so far this year, but since this is Pennsylvania, things are going to get a little colder before they get warmer. Looking here at tonight's forecast, following a high today of 72, things are going to get a little chilly with a low of 43. Although make sure if you're going out tonight, you remember that umbrella, as scattered showers are expected well into the evening. Tomorrow, things are not going to be much warmer, but I'm sure many of you going home for Easter weekend will appreciate the roads staying nice and dry. Tomorrow will be a high of 68 and a low of 53, as it looks to remain just partly cloudy. Looking forward to the week ahead, Saturday looks to be much of the same with a high of 68, although temperatures are going to be much colder with a low of 38. On Sunday, we're going to continue to see a drop in weather with a high of 53 and a low of 35. So depending on when you go hunting for eggs, make sure you're all bundled up. Monday is going to be kicking off the week on a bit of a downer note. Rain showers throughout most of the day, as well as a high of 41 and a low of 40. Tuesday, we'll see some remnants of the Monday showers, but with some peaks of the sun, the weather starts to bounce back just a hair with a high of 47. But those lows are going to drop to 35. Wednesday really starts to feel like spring again as we return to the 50-degree weather, as there's looking to be a high of 54 and a low of 38. Thursday will bring us back full circle to the temperatures of this week with a high of 62 and a low of 45. And finally, Friday will be quite the day to kick off the weekend with a solid high of 72 and a low of 44. Remember to everyone traveling out there to drive safe and have a wonderful holiday. I'm Adam Beam. Now let's send it over to Michael Donegan with this week's entertainment.
Oops, she did it again. Britney Spears announced on Instagram Monday she is pregnant. And from the sound of things, it really was an oops. The 40-year-old pop singer wrote she was confused by the sudden shifts in her weight. She says fiancé Sam Asghari even joked she was, and I quote, food pregnant. But nope, she now says it's a good old-fashioned pregnancy. The Toxic Pony singer points out she suffered from depression during a previous pregnancy, so this time around she plans to stay out of the spotlight. Spears shares 2 teenage sons with her ex-husband, Kevin Federline. Emerging from the shadows once more, The Batman has found its release date for HBO Max. This Monday, April 18th, the hit film will be streaming exclusively on the Warner Brothers platform. This comes from the studio's plan to have all theatrical releases hit HBO Max 45 days after they debut in theaters. Matt Reeves' The Batman is the highest grossing Warner Brothers film of the pandemic era to date, as it's grossed $735 million worldwide. If you missed the masked vigilante from the darkness of the theater, you can now enjoy it from the darkness of your own room starting Monday at 3 a.m. Eastern Time. The highly anticipated adaptation of the beloved Percy Jackson book series has found its lead. 13-year-old Walker Scobell will play the young demigod in the 8-episode series heading to Disney+. The actor recently burst onto the scene with his performance in the Netflix action film The Adam Project, where he played the younger version of Ryan Reynolds' Adam Reed. As of right now, Scobell is the only major casting news to come from the series, but we do know that the series is set to begin production this summer and that the first season will be an adaptation of the first book in the series, Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. One of Netflix's most popular shows is returning after last season ended on some major cliffhangers. Following a nearly 2-year-long production cycle, Netflix has finally released a full trailer for the 4th season of Stranger Things. This new season will follow 3 stories going on at once, and from the trailer, it looks to be Mike and Eleven in California, the rest of the gang back in Hawkins, and Hopper still held captive in a Russian prison. However, all these stories are expected to be connected by the end of the season. This will be the first season of Stranger Things to not be released all at once, and will instead be split into 2 parts. And part 1 will release on May 27th, with part 2 set for July 1st. For those who want to catch up before the new season, all 3 of them are now streaming only on Netflix. To young viewers, he was the voice of Iago in Aladdin, and to older viewers, his unique voice was one of the raunchiest around. Comedian and actor Gilbert Gottfried has died at the age of 67. His family says he had been battling an undisclosed illness for a long time. Gottfried rose to fame in the 1990s with his stand-up comedy. However, it was his unique style of speech that would ultimately lead him down the rabbit hole of voice acting. He would appear in numerous iconic properties like Cyber Chase, and most recently as the voice of God in the hit Adult Swim series, Smiling Friends. It's also notable that Godfrey's passing comes just months after the untimely deaths of Norm Macdonald and Bob Saget. Godfrey leaves behind a wife and 2 children. That's it for this week's entertainment. I'm Michael Donegan. Now back to Patrick and Carson at the desk.
When we come back in sports, highlights from lacrosse's first conference win.
We have more after this.
The Cub 230.
Lacrosse looked to get their first conference win on Wednesday night as they took on the Shepherd Rams, who pick up with action in the first quarter with the Raiders already up 2-1. It's Jenna McDonald who's going to send a pass to Alana Cardacy, and she's going to be able to put it in the back of the net for her first of the game. Get used to hearing that for the rest of these highlights as McDonald will find Cardacy yet again for her second of the game in the second quarter to make it 7-2 Shippensburg. Nearing the end of the second half as McDonald took to Cardacy yet again for the third time, and Cardacy's going to be able to complete the hat trick and make it 9-3 Ship. Well, looks like we're stuck in a time loop right now because it's McDonald connecting with Cardacy for the fourth time. What a combo these two made on Wednesday afternoon. Second half now is going to be McDonald. Well, she's not going to find Cardacy this time, but it's going to be Bailey Crawl, and that's going to be McDonald's 6th assist of the game, and they would end up winning by the score of 16-10. McDonald's final assist to Crawl would tie the school record for a career assist at 94, and lacrosse is back in action on Saturday at Bloomsburg with the face-off starting at 1 p.m. Softball traveled to Bowie State on Wednesday afternoon for a doubleheader. First game saw pitcher of the week Alicia Ball pitch 6 shutout innings with 8 strikeouts and only giving up 2 hits, leading the Raiders to win the first game 8-0. Up next in Game 2, the athlete of the week for the Raiders, Hannah Marsteller, went 0 for 4 in Game 1. So in Game 2, she will respond big time by going 3 for 4 at the plate with a 3-run home run. Ship will end up winning Game 2, 6-0. Raiders host Millersville for a doubleheader on Friday. First game starts at 2 p.m. Baseball traveled to Pitt Johnstown on Wednesday afternoon. The Raiders were down 5-1 after the second inning, but they would rally a comeback. Junior Justin Darden had 3 of the Raiders' 10 hits and 2 RBIs in his first 2 at-bats. But in the end, the Raiders would fall to the Mountain Cats 7-6. The Raiders will travel to Kutztown on Friday. First pitch is at 2 o'clock. And finally tonight, for the first time since the 2016-2017 season, the Shippensburg tennis team has more than 1 match win in a year. Last Saturday, the Raiders took on Clarion University and would not be denied as they would sweep the Golden Eagles 7-0. Stellar performances came from field hockey stars Jenna Slemmer and Mara Hoekstra. Tennis is back in action at home this Saturday as they take on Lock Haven. Matchups start at 11 a.m. That's it for sports this week. I'm Tyler Danson. Now let's send it back to Carson and Patrick at the desk.
When we come back, a woman's job interview in Florida was saved thanks to a police officer.
Stay tuned. A Florida woman is thanking police after her car broke down on her way to a big job interview. One of the agency's officers came to her rescue and actually helped her land the job. Joe McLean has more.
Got the job! Yay!
That's Amber Battle, reuniting with JSO officer Sylvia Mitchell. The two first met on Monday when Battle says she was heading to a job interview at Noble Granite, an interview she had already had to reschedule once due to a family emergency. But then on Monday,
I was on my way here, and 3 minutes away, my engine blew up in the middle of the intersection. So I was steaming, smoking, couldn't get the car back started.
Battle said she called the company's manager, Nicole Lockett, to let her know the situation.
What were you feeling in that moment on the side of the road there?
I just felt really defeated. I was actually on the phone with my mom, and that's why I started crying.
That's when Officer Mitchell, a 19-year JSO veteran, just finishing her shift that day, pulled over to help.
So when I went to her car, I asked her, "What's wrong?" She said, "My car went hot. I can't crank it up." She said, "But I have an interview."
Officer Mitchell agreed to take Battle to her interview in the back of her patrol car and even vouch for Battle once they arrived.
Then the officer came in with her and she was like, "Hey, I need y'all to give this young lady a job." I said, "Hey, she really needs this job. You got to give her the job." And the young lady told me, "I don't believe she brought the police with her." We all just laughed and she was like, "Thank you so much, thank you so much." And it was just a moment for all of us. We all start crying.
Battle landed the job and says she credits Lockett and the AAA worker for accommodating her, but especially Officer Mitchell for coming through in her time of need.
It just made me feel like people cared, which you don't see that too often these days, especially with stranger to stranger.
Humanity's still alive, so I mean, it was awesome to me. But we serve and protect. So my service was needed, and I did what I thought was right to help her.
I mean, talk about coming into a job interview with some backup.
Yeah, it just makes me wonder if her new job offers a 401k9.
That's it for SUTV News. I'm Carson Devitt.
And I'm Patrick Ramsdale. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at SUTV News. And check out our website, sutvnews.org.